The very first time I truly and fully connected to the field during one of the Joe Dispenza meditations that I'm going to share with you in this video, my head was moving further and further behind me. I was feeling this beautiful feeling, this intense feeling of love and of abundance, and I still remember how tears of joy were running down my cheeks, and I was just fully immersed in this beautiful feeling of being wealthy, of being rich, of being abundant, of finally having the money that I wanted to have and being able to live the life I wanted to live. And I know it sounds a bit naive when I say this, but for me back then, $400,000 was the amount that I thought in my mind, that's the money that I need to be free, because this money would allow me, with the right investments, to have about $2,000 a month in passive income. And if I want, I can then just relax and chillax at the beach in Thailand or the Philippines or somewhere where it's beautiful and tropical. That was my thought pattern back then. Maybe a little bit naive in your worldview, but that's how my money manifestation journey started. That's where my desire came from. My desire was to be free. My desire was to be able to travel wherever I wanted to go. And this leads me to the very first point that I want to share with you in this video. And in this video, I have planned a lot of amazing things for you. In fact, I will share the exact step-by-step guide with you, how I manifested $400,000 with the meditations from Dr. Joe Dispenza. I will also share specific quotes with you from Dr. Joe Dispenza. And on top of that, I will share 4 meditations with you from Dr. Joe Dispenza that I think and believe and know from my own personal experience that they are absolutely perfect for manifesting money. So what is the first thing you have to do if you want to manifest money? What did I do when I embarked on this journey? I asked myself, why do I actually want the money and which amount do I want? And now you might be saying, yeah, I want 5 billion. In this case, if you already have 1 billion, I would say, yep, do it. However, if that's not the case yet, then I would use the what I call ladder principle. And please don't confuse this now with Neville Goddard's ladder principle. That's a different ladder principle. My ladder principle simply means that you always work yourself up step by step. For example, when I started, and I started from the bottom, now we're here, I started at a point where I was making barely $1,000 a month. And from this starting point, I didn't immediately go to $20,000 a month. Nowadays I'm making that, but from this starting point, I went to 3,000, then to 6,000, then to 9,000. And then I realized, hey, the jump from 9,000 to 10,000 is so easy. Then I was making 11,000 and I thought to myself, oh, the jump from 11,000 to 15,000 is also easy. And then I thought to myself, if I can already make 15,000, I can make 20,000. And that's exactly what I did. I manifested my way up. And this is the principle that I want to share with you as the first principle. To double what you're making right now, to then manifest this amount and to then double it again. This worked really well for me, this technique, because if you go too high, even though all other YouTubers tell you to do that, because, well, it sounds good and it's nice for clickbait, but if you go too high, you simply will be discouraged and you won't even do it. But if you then step by step move up, then you know that you have this power, you know that you can manifest, you know that you can do it. And I know you want to know right now which meditations I used. And I actually thought about sharing these meditations at the end of the video, but I know that right now you can't wait to hear about them. And I'm confident that when I continue to break down the different steps of what I did to manifest the amount of money, that you will still continue to watch the videos. So here are my top 4 meditations from Dr. Joe Dispenza for manifesting abundance. That is number 1, synchronizing your energy to abundance. This is the longest meditation on the list, but it really helped me to get into the feeling and to truly, fully feel it. Then there is generating abundance. You could say that's the little brother or little sister of synchronizing your energy to abundance. And then there is a walking meditation. And for me, this is walking meditation number 5, unlocking the code. And this walking meditation is not directly focused on manifesting money. me, but it really pumps me up. When I'm walking with it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm abundant, whoa! I feel so freaking amazing whenever I walk with that meditation. And the last meditation I wanted to share is tuning into new potentials. There you could, for example, visualize yourself in potential number 1, in a scene where you're already abundant, where you live your abundant life. And scene number 2 could be a symbol of your abundance. And this also leads me to what Joe Dispenza always describes as the clear intention and the elevated emotion, because it all starts with, no, it actually doesn't start with the clear intention. It starts with something that most people completely ignore, but that is so important on your journey to manifesting abundance, which is the brain and the heart. And I want to share this principle now with a quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza. We know that it takes a clear intention, a coherent brain, and an elevated emotion, a coherent heart, to begin to change a person's biology from living in the past to living in the future. That combination of mind and body, of thoughts and feelings, also seems to influence matter, and that's how you create reality. The very first thing I always did before every meditation, and I learned that in the first Joe Dispenza week-long advanced retreat I went to. I've already been to 3 office week-long advanced retreats, 1 in Antalya, Turkey, then I went to Austria, to Vienna, and before that was actually London in the UK. And you creating brain and heart coherence makes all the difference. For me, it made all the difference in my meditation practice. I can confidently say that, because in the words of Joe Dispenza, your heart is your center of creation. And if you in the first step activate your heart with your coherent brain, and you then in the second step send the intention out into the field with the clear picture, and you then in the third step draw the experience to you with the elevated emotion, that's when you're manifesting. That's when you're manifesting so fast that you're thinking to yourself, whoa, how did that money get here? How are these ideas even possible? Where did that business idea come from? How did that job opportunity reach me? But these are the synchronicities and the signs and the serendipities, the ideas, the direct downloads from source that are then working in your favor, that are coming to you. The universe is conspiring in your favor to give you what you want. And that's why I then went into the imaginal act. I created images of me sitting in business class, feeling myself into the feeling of what it would feel like if I already had the money to do that. I was then visualizing myself being able to live in the most beautiful apartments and to live in the most beautiful places in the world. And now I'm living this life because I married a clear intention with the elevated emotion. But before I did that, I then went into brain and heart coherence. And brain and heart coherence is also something that I will teach you in my 8-week abundance reality shift coaching program, which, by the way, you can find out more about by going to affirmation2manifestation.com/abundance. And of course, we can also work on that in an individual coaching session. But this 3-step process, brain and heart coherence, intention, elevated emotion, that's the secret. And now that you know these 3 steps, now it's all about consistency. And again, I want to mention the words from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Personal change takes an intentional act of will. And it usually means that something was making us uncomfortable enough to want to do things differently. To evolve is to overcome the conditions in our life by changing something about ourselves. This is a quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza from Evolve Your Brain. So yes, consistency is truly the key, because there will be days when you doubt yourself. There will be days when you think about your bills. There will be moments where you think to yourself, is it really true? I mean, will it come to me? When will it come to me? How will it come to me? Always remember, this is not your job. The universe takes care of the when and the how. Or let's better say, the universe takes care of how it will come to you, and you with your manifestation effort, you with meditating again, feeling again, reminding yourself every day of your future and also of who you want to become, which is actually what leads me to the next point. You then, by consistently going into the imagined act, by consistently activating your heart and combining the clear intention with the elevated emotion and letting them make sweet, sweet love together, you then create your reality. You draw that potential to you. And now I want to talk about the becoming process. And this was for me also something that made a big difference. What if you meditate for 30 minutes a day, or 1 hour, or even 2 hours, or 3 hours a day? I mean, for the last 4 years, I haven't missed a day. I can confidently say I've meditated more than 1,000 days in a row, and I mainly use Joe Dispenza's meditations. Of course, I also combine his knowledge with the teachings of Neville Goddard and other spiritual teachers. I truly believe that it's a good idea to combine all these aspects, but I meditate every single day. But what do I do when I don't meditate? Well, I want to again share a quote from Joe Dispenza. If you want a new outcome, you will have to break the habit of being yourself and reinvent a new self. This is a quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza from his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And yes, this is the becoming process. It's the changing process. It's the process of letting go of the old self and becoming a new self who is a perfect vibrational match to the abundance that you want. And I want to illustrate this with the following drawing. Here is you. That is you who marries the intention with the elevated emotion, or let's better say the clear intention with the elevated emotion that leads you to the money. And you have an open heart. You connect with your heart, you tune into your heart, and you then send the signal out with the intention, and you draw the experience back to you with the elevated emotion. But at the same time, there's this underlying process that is hiding often in the shadow that most people don't even think about, that most people don't even care about. And that's the becoming process. You become somebody else. And while you then become somebody else, while you step into this new energy, and by the way, this is exactly what we're going to do together in week number 3 of the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program. But while you become this new self, this abundant self who walks differently, thinks differently, maybe even dresses differently, you then get insights, ideas, and you get synchronicities, you meet the right people, and you then complete this picture. You then, with the intention and the emotion, send the signal out, draw the experience back to you. You then receive synchronicities and signs directly from the field, from the universe, and through the becoming process, you then become a perfect match to taking inspired action. And this inspired action will then, through the synchronicities, through the signs, through the serendipities, through all the information that you get via direct downloads, during meditations, all the business ideas, the job opportunities, will then lead you directly to the wealth that you've always wanted. That's how it happened for me, and I know that it can happen for you as well. And now that you know how I manifested $400,000 with the steps that I shared with you in this video and with the Joe Dispenza meditations that I shared with you, you might also want to know how I manifested my amazing girlfriend in just 2 weeks with one specific Joe Dispenza meditation that most people have never heard of. And if you want to find out about that, then I invite you to watch the video that will now pop up right here. And of course, I also invite you to subscribe and to tune in again to the next video.